Well, happy Monday to everybody. We finished up basically 5 weeks of work with a mock game week last week and had the opportunity to get in the Coliseum for kind of a mock dress rehearsal. I can tell you the Coliseum is extremely beautiful at daylight with the sun coming up. It's about as good as it gets. And I thought our kids handled it extremely well. We've done this a couple of times now, but this past time was the exact timing of get up when we get to the stadium, going through the process of pregame, and basically playing about a half of simulated football in all three phases. And so it was a good experience for us, and now it's game week. And really happy for our kids and staff. We've been going through this since March 15th, and now to have the opportunity to play the game we love, we're just very appreciative and very grateful to be able to get out there and be able to compete against a good ASU team. When it comes to Arizona State, got a lot of respect for Coach Edwards and the job he's done. He's put together a really good football team, a team that took us to the brink last year at their place, and he's done a terrific job in bringing some quality kids in. Offensively, it starts with Jaden Daniels. I think what's really neat about this game is you're going to see two of the better quarterbacks in the country right off the bat on a national stage, and so it's I was extremely impressed with Jaden last year. His production as a true freshman was evident both in the passing game and how he creates athletically. But what was even more impressive is him not turning the ball over. I think only 2 interceptions on the year. He protects the football, makes good decisions. They'll be finding some key pieces to their offense. Losing Brandon on the outside, who was a 1,200-yard receiver. And they're looking for that next guy. It's probably going to be Frank Darby, who was a 600-yard receiver for him last year. We were extremely impressed with. I think it's going to be really hard to maybe fill the shoes of Benjamin, but they've got 3 talented young backs that are all going to be in the mix for that starting job, and I would imagine that they would rotate them, but we'll see who comes out on front there. But losing is a big factor in that running game, and we'll see how that goes for those 3 young backs. Defensively, it starts at linebacker. Merlin Robinson and Darian Butler are 2 of the better linebacking, maybe the best combination of linebackers in our league. A ton of experience, a ton of production. Evan Fields in the back end, we were really impressed with last year at the free safety position. And then the big man, Jermaine Lilly, 6.5 sacks on the year last year and double-digit tackles for loss. They were a very productive defense last year, a defense that really gave us some issues, to be honest with you. We came out really fast, but they really settled in and played a good game against us last year. It's going to be a little bit different for us, to be honest with you, just because of the new coordinators that are in play. You're looking at 2 new co-defensive coordinators and Coach Lewis and Coach Pierce, and then a new offensive coordinator, Zach Hill, coming from Boise State. So you got some unscouted looks that are going to be out there. We've talked to our football team about it's about us. It's about us executing our systems. It's about us playing with relentless effort. And it's about us not making the critical errors that we've seen in early ball games have cost teams wins with penalties and unforced turnovers. So it's really, we're concentrating on the little things this week as we fine tune in this 6 week of preparation for this game. We will, I know I'm working with Tim this week. We'll produce a 2 deep for you that we'll release on Friday, as well as give you the names of our captains for this year. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
Okay, we've got some hands raised. We'll start with Ryan Young.
Clay, going back to their new coordinators, what was the scope of your scouting? What do you even look at to kind of get a sense for what those guys might be doing?
Well, I think, Ryan, defensively, it's more personnel matchups because, you're looking at, I think, a totally different maybe system than they had last year. They may use some things, but anytime that you all of a sudden go to co-defensive coordinators, Marvin's got a ton of experience, one of the better coaches in the history of our game defensively. And so, it's hard to be able to say, okay, hey, they're going to do this, this, and this. It's more about the personnel matchups that we're evaluating, and like I said, doing the things that we feel good about, that are us, not trying to out scheme everybody, but out execute in this game. On the other hand, you got Zach, who did a great job at Boise the years that he was there. You will look at that tape. You'll look at that tape, obviously bring in the things that he believes in, as well as some of the things that Jaden has done a good job for them last year. So on that side, you're kind of looking on dual front personnel, as well as some of the things Jaden was successful at last year, as well as some of the new concepts that could come in for Boise.
And then are there any players
Hey, Ryan, we're going to go one question each because we have so many people up here. So Shotgun, you're next.
Hey, Clay, how come you guys didn't scrimmage this past weekend?
We had a ton of scrimmage opportunities, Shotgun, going into this last week, and it had been an extremely physical camp. We actually had some scrimmage situations during the week, and with an early game coming up, as well as kind of a different format than we have this week with Election Day tomorrow. We were actually in a padded practice yesterday. As well as a full pad practice today, Shotgun. So the be able to have 3 days back to back with an early Saturday game, I didn't think was advantageous for our team. They had put in enough physicality, and I knew Sunday and Monday would be our most physical days of the week, and I didn't want 3 days in a row. So it was more game simulation. Kids have done a phenomenal job all the way through camp. By far, I think you've heard in talking to them, by far our most physical camp over the past couple of years. And knowing that Sunday and Monday were going to be heavy work days, I didn't want to put that load on them. So made that decision as a head coach for the betterment of our team.
Okay, off to Mark Culkin.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
You've had plenty of time to watch enough college football now, and even Nick Saban said it's going to take a lot of points to win a championship this year. What are your thoughts on maybe teams running up the score in this beauty contest of a short season?
I talked to our team yesterday, Mark, about pouring ourselves into each and every week and going 1-0 each and every week, and not getting caught up in looking at the future or looking at the past, but staying in the moment. Because if you want to win a championship, you're going to have to, you're going to have to look at perfection. You're going to have to, and to acquire perfection, it means being in that moment and succeeding in that moment. And sometimes as an 18, 21-year-old, if you get caught up looking at what's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks down the road and not focus on what's right in front of you, which is your current opponent, you can look up and get your butt beat. And in this format, we're not going to be able to do that. So, I told them, I said, guys, I like us in every game that we play, as long as we stay in the moment and we pour all our energy and focus into this week, and then consistently do that week in and week out, and then add them up, and you're going to be in a position that you really like come December. But I'm worried about wins, not necessarily obviously you're building a resume, but as far as running up scores and things, I just want to execute to the best of our ability. And if that means that we have some multiple touchdown separation, it is what it is. But our concentration is one game at a time, 1 week at a time. Thanks for the question, Mark.
Thank you.
Ryan Karchi.
Good morning, Clay. You mentioned Election Day. Obviously, it's a new thing that you guys will have activities off tomorrow. How much have you talked to the players and just the locker room in general about the election and about the importance of voting, and how much has that focus maybe changed over the course of your tenure as a coach?
Yeah, I'm proud of our players, and I'm proud of our athletic department in both phases. And this has been in my 26 years of college football coaching. There seems to be the most engagement from young people and I think that from an athletic administration and a coaching staff, we've really brought it forth, and our players have brought it forth. We we actually had a group come in and be able to teach us. Rise came in that had worked with several NFL teams and taught us how to get registered, taught us how to do the education, whether it was Voter's Edge or 411 vote, to be able to find out about the important legislation that's coming out, to be able to study the candidates, and then our administration. It's the first game of the year, and to be able to make the investment in our country and with our students, to be able to give them Tuesday completely off from Kara in their opening game and say, you know what, this is important, guys. This is something that we all have the right to be able to vote, and it's important to go vote. And so they're learning at a young age what it means, and I think it's extremely fortunate for all of us that we're going to get this opportunity. And so it changes our schedule a little bit, which I don't mind. We had a great day of work yesterday. We're going to have another great day today. Have our first and second down game plan. Give them a little rest tomorrow. Go have that great experience of voting, and then we'll be right back to work Wednesday. Thanks for the question, Ryan.
Antonio, you're up.
Clay, what are you hoping, or what do you need to see from Marquis Step in practice this week in order for him to play?
I saw a lot yesterday, to be honest with you, Antonio. I thought he had by far his best day. We're in full pads today, and I'll get even a better feel. But in talking to him last night after practice and this morning in the training room, he felt really good and the most confident he's been. It's right now. It's actually not as much as his ankle feels phenomenal. He's got a little bit of a big toe, turf toe, that is probably more of the issue right now. But he looked really good yesterday, and we'll see where it's at today. But I'm anticipating him being ready for Saturday the way he's progressing.
Okay, Adam Grossbard.
Clay, earlier this camp, you talked about how Elijah Griffin has just provided a lot of energy. Are there any specific examples that stand out to you in that regard?
I think the thing that I love about OG is his consistency of energy. I don't think the guy ever has a bad day. He comes out bouncing around like the Energizer Bunny and just provides great juice. And you can see he reminds me of that the personality we had with Juju when he was here. He just didn't. I mean, he just lights up a room, and he's going to be one of those guys, whether it's in football or post football career. That guy's going to be successful in life just because of the attitude he has, how he approaches everything, and just he lights up a room when he comes in, and that energy overflows to others.
Okay, Kyle Bonagura.
Hey, Clay. How do you
Hey,
think that the Pac-12 factors into the national college football conversation this year, mainly because of the late start?
Yeah, definitely. I think Kyle, for us as coaches, we got to present the best resume that we can. Put coaches and teams, players, present the best resume you can, and let the College Football Playoff Committee make the judgment off that. I think they've done a great job over the years of producing the best 4 teams, and that's going to be their job again. The interesting thing that has gone has provided some great football has been to see the conference only model and how important each and every game is, whether you're looking at the SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, or Pac-12. There's a lot of exciting games that happen each and every week, and one of the things that we're seeing is top 10 teams picking up losses. And it's providing us an opportunity in the Pac-12 to be able to present our best resume, and hopefully one of our football teams comes out of here with an unblemished record and is part of the discussion. And so that's all we can concentrate on, is presenting the best resume possible to be part of that discussion. And we look forward to getting started with that resume this weekend.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have time for 2 quick questions, and then I see that Coach Harrell and Amon and Kedon are with us, so we'll take 2 for Coach. Greg Beecham, you're up.
Hey, Clay, really quick, you mentioned at the start of camp that Kedon Slovis was looking bigger and stronger and all around better. What have you seen from him in camp, and what are your impressions of him so far in camp, both on the field and as a leader?
Yeah, I think not only our strength and conditioning staff, but Graham has done a phenomenal job with taking a kid that was a freshman last year that was thrust into the spotlight, and now producing a young man that's 215 pounds. He went from a young man to a grown man in over a year, and I thought a lot had to do with Kedon's work ethic in the weight room, but also if you see the discipline that him and Graham have pre-practice and post-practice and working his core, working his flexibility, it's evident that his body is different than what it was a year ago. The other thing that I see from Kedon, and now being a year within the system, his confidence level, as well as his comfort level and chemistry with the receivers. When you're in a system going from year 1 to year 2, and you've been with those guys, and they've been throwing since July 6th together, waiting for this opportunity, you see the chemistry that him and an Amon-Ra have, him and a Tyler Vaughns and a Drake London and those kids have. And the ball is coming out in a timely manner. He's making decisive decisions and accurate throws, and he can make every throw on the field. Especially with our hash marks in college football, arm strength is important, and he's making timely decisions, decisive decisions, the right decisions, and you can just tell the chemistry is so much better than from going from year 1 to year 2, and that's what you expect. Good coaching and a good player, that's what happens.
Okay, last one for Coach from Eric McKinney.
Hey, Coach, what did you see from Brandon Peely this camp? Has he separated himself kind of from those younger guys behind him, and what do you kind of expect from him going forward?
Yeah, Brandon has done a nice job. He was one that came back to us a little bit later than others. So the first thing was to get in shape. He was up to in the 340s and needed to get back down to the 320s. He's done that. He's in a lot better shape now. He's in football shape. And he's going to be a factor this season without question. He's going to be a contributor for us, whether it's at the nose position, whether it's at the 3 technique position. He's one of those guys that require a double team block, which will open up things for EA and Raylan and the linebackers. So expecting big things from Brandon, expecting his consistency of play. He's always been a talented player. I look forward to the consistency of play and production each and every play this year.
Okay, Clay, thanks very much for joining us this morning. We're going to let you go if you want, and we're going to turn it over to Graham and the players. We'll see you again, Clay, on Thursday with this group. Okay?
All righty. Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
Okay, Graham, you're up. It's been a few weeks since this group has talked to you, so if you want to give us a little rundown on how you've seen camp go and what you're looking for this week against ASU. Graham, you there? You're on mute.
Camp's been great. As camp's gone on, we've gotten more and more healthy, which has been obviously very helpful, especially at the skill position. I think we just had some guys with nothing serious, but we're getting back in shape, getting back from little tweaks. And so getting a full crew back over the last few days or the last week or so has been fun and helpful. So it's been good so far, and this is what we've worked for. So obviously we're excited about the opportunity we have this week.
Okay, if you have questions, please raise your hand for either Graham or the players. Ryan Young.
Kedon, I think most people think that you and Jaden Daniels are probably the best quarterbacks in this conference. What are your thoughts about getting to go head-to-head and kind of be on the same stage this week?
No, just excited for the opportunity. Obviously, he's a great player, and ASU's done a great job in the past couple of years with Coach Edwards and what they're doing over there. But again, just like we say every week, regardless of the team we're playing, regardless of who we play, regardless of what scheme they run, it's about us, and we have to go out and execute. And if we do that, we're gonna have success.
Are we still on one only, Tim?
Go ahead.
Graham, we've heard just constant praise about Brew McCoy all camp. Do you have a more defined sense for his role and just how much opportunity he's going to have in this offense?
I think every day Brew gets better because he knows it better. And it's not necessarily a talent thing. Brew's always been very talented. But the more every day he just gets more and more comfortable in the system. And so that's going to be the key with Brew is, just getting back in shape after kind of having a year off from last season and then coming through the quarantine and then learning the system. And obviously spring ball would have been big for Brew, but having this extra time with camp and being able to do kind of like the OTA type setup that the Pac-12 allowed us to do before camp has been very beneficial for Brew. His talent level is through the roof. Again, just the more and more comfortable he gets with the system and knowing what to do in the offense, the more time he'll get, and he's going to be he's going to be a great weapon for us.
Thanks.
Antonio.
Graham, do you have to watch like a lot of old Bengals tape to get any kind of clue about what Marvin Lewis will do, or how do you prepare for this week?
It makes it difficult. Obviously, it's been a long time since Marvin's called the defense. I'm sure he was pretty influential in what they were doing at Cincinnati. But to get, it's not like you can go find tape from the last year or two and see him calling it and know exactly what you're going to get. And so we really don't know what we're going to get. But I do think that's one advantage to what we do is we don't necessarily try to out-scheme people. We're going to try to go execute what we do at a really high level. And so, again, I don't know when the last time exactly he called it is, but, the game's evolved, defense has evolved, and I'm sure he's evolved right there with it. And so, obviously, he's done an incredible job in his career when he was calling it and had a long run there as the head man at Cincinnati, and I'm sure he was involved, but I don't know how much he was calling. So we don't really know what we're going to get, to be honest with you. And so when that's the case, I think you just got to go try to do what you do well. And the nice thing is we're in our second year in the system, and so our guys know it a little better. And so if you get into the game and you have to adjust a little bit, that's not going to be near as hard for our guys this year as it would have been last year, especially week one, because it would have been the first game of the system. Now they have a year. They've played in it for a year. They've got a ton of practice in it. And so if we have to make some adjustments on the fly, I think we have a group that has a lot of experience that will be able to do that. And so that's the advantage of having the crew that we have. Again, preparing for a team that you're not sure what they're going to do makes it difficult, but you just got to go do what you're good at and adjust if need be.
Ryan Karchi.
For Kedon and Amon-Ra, pretty sure for most of the roster, this is going to be the first time you guys are able to vote in a presidential election. Obviously, you have the day off tomorrow for a reason. But how much has that been a topic of conversation just among the team? And how have you guys felt sort of student athletes becoming a bigger part of a conversation, especially one as widespread as a political presidential conversation?
Go ahead, Kedon.
To me, I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. Obviously, when it comes to things that like writing a letter to Gavin Newsom and things of that sort, I think we realize that we have more power in our voice than we realize. But in terms of the presidential election, it hasn't been something we talked about a whole lot or something that impacted us other than not having practice on Tuesday. But that's just my experience. Maybe Amon-Ra has something different for you.
Yeah, no, I agree with Kedon. We've been focused on football mostly, all at camp and this week. Obviously, it's nice to, have Tuesday off and vote and, make a difference in our country. But I think we're mainly focused on ASU.
You guys have a particularly strange situation, not only just having been delayed this long to start the season, but you're starting at 9 a.m. on a Saturday for the first time. What's going to be the strangest part, you think, about this opening game? Is it the empty stadium, the early start time? Seems like there's a lot strange there.
I would say the empty stadium is going to be the biggest thing for us. I don't think any of us have played in an empty stadium in any of our lives. Even in Pop Warner, you have your parents there, you have a few people watching. So having an empty stadium is going to be different, but we're going to have to count on our team to come up with some juice and some energy. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, we'll go to Matthew Andrade.
My question is for Graham and Kedon. What improvements in Kedon's game have you seen in the long off season, and what are your expectations for Kedon this season?
I think that and I say it all the time, you can't replace experience, and so I think that's where you improve the most is just through getting live reps. And so having a year of experience under his belt and having those game reps, I think you learn a lot from that. And so the experience side of things has made him a better player. Also, I think he has a better grasp of what we're doing and what we're trying to do. And over the quarantine, I think spring ball would have been really, really helpful for our team. But without spring ball, you had to make the most of the quarantine. And we were able to watch a lot of tape together and kind of get on the same page as far as, hey, this is what I'm seeing and this is what I'm calling it and this is what we're trying to do with different cut-ups and stuff. So we were able to spend a lot of time together through Zoom, watching tape and kind of trying to understand what – I think if the play caller and the quarterback are on the same page and seeing the game the same way, that you have an advantage. And so I think that we, through Zoom calls and through the quarantine, we were able to do that quite a bit. And so I think that's going to help him. And so you'll see improvements just from hopefully decision-making and just being more and more comfortable. If you looked at down the stretch last season, he was playing at a really high level, and the offense as a whole was playing at a really high level. And hopefully we can just build on that because, I think that we hope to improve. And again, those are more and more reps that he had. And so from that standpoint, I think that's where his biggest, advantage is he has a year under his belt. I think that he feels more comfortable checking routes or checking plays than he probably did last year. If he sees something, he feels more comfortable attacking it. And I think the final place where he's improved is just as a leader. And I think that's for a quarterback is as important as anything. And when you come into the true freshman, last spring I was really impressed with what he did, and I talked about it a lot anytime I was asked about it. As far as he was 17 at the time, and to step into that huddle with established players and great players, like Michael Pittman, like Amon-Ra, like these guys that have established themselves as great players and have experience. For him to be able to step in that huddle at that age and not shy down, but still have a voice and command that huddle. That was really impressive. But I think now after a year and being the guy, I think the team sees him in a different light, and I think that'll help. But he's also improved as a leader because, I think that just naturally happens when you're the quarterback and you have some experience under your belt. And so, I think that's as important as anything, and that's where you're going to see a ton of improvement. And that's not going to be tangible, and you're not going to be able to necessarily equate that, exact. There's no exact equation to see where that improved. But when things get tight, when you need to rally the troops, if that quarterback is a leader, you're going to have a much more likely you're going to be successful more often than not if everyone can look to that guy and he can rally those troops. And I think that's where he's improved as much as anything, and one of the reasons we're so excited going into this season.
Okay, let's go to Kyle Bonagura.
Yeah, this is for Kedon and Amon-Ra. Wondering where you guys feel like the Pac-12 stacks up compared to the rest of the country going into the start of the season, and if you feel there's a kind of a responsibility being at USC, being kind of one of the hallmark programs on the West Coast, to kind of lead the way for the conference and the region.
I think we kind of had conversations about it before, but we get 7 opportunities to go play and showcase ourselves and what kind of team we have, and really we just have to make the most of that and control what we can control. If we dominate those 7 games and establish ourselves as one of the better teams in the country, then obviously that's up to someone else to make the decision for where we fall after that. But it's up to us to kind of make that statement and and accomplish those things.
Yeah, I feel like you said, I mean, at USC, Oregon, the two supposedly top teams in the Pac-12. I feel like we do have a responsibility because a lot of the media doesn't really respect the Pac-12. They don't really think that we play good football out here. So I think as a team, as a conference, we all know that, and we don't like that. So we try to go out there every week and prove a point.
Thank you.
Eric McKinney.
Amon-Ra and then Kedon, what's been the experience kind of getting ready for this 9 a.m. game, that first time out there for kind of the first scrimmage to this most recent one? What's been the experience, and what have you kind of learned and able to take into getting ready for that?
I mean, I think it's just another game. I don't see all the hype around it. Once I'm up, I can play any time once I'm up. So, I mean, it's just an earlier game for me. It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I agree with Amon-Ra. When we were in popcorn and all that, we were playing at 9 a.m. early game. So obviously it's something we haven't done in a while, but it's nothing that we have never done. And just getting more sleep and getting yourself used to waking up early. That's pretty much all you can do. And waking up, we did it last week, a mock game week, waking up early, and I think most of our guys were ready to play.
And then Graham, what have you seen from the offensive line? The I guess progression there from start of camp to here in game week.
I do think they've continued to improve, and that's a pretty experienced group, so that'll be very helpful for us. And they're a talented crew as well. And so obviously when AVT came back, that was exciting news for us. And watching him play is pretty fun to watch. I mean, he's a special individual. And, there's a reason I think that a lot of people think he's going to be a really high draft pick because he has the talent to do that. He's very driven. But I think as an entire unit, they all kind of have a chip on their shoulder, and for whatever reason, and they've just approached practice the right way. And because of that, they've improved across the board. We've played, we rolled different guys in there at times, but for the most part, we've tried to stick guys together, at least next to each other, to give them some experience together so they can get used to that. And because of that, you're starting to see the benefits of it as camp moves on. And so I'm excited about that. Like I said, I think that from the beginning of camp to now, the biggest improvement is just that they're a lot more used to playing next to each other. And it's not like we have different guys or different talents, but they've gotten more and more on the same page with each other. And at that position, you got 5 guys that have to try to move as one unit. And they're getting closer and closer to that every day, passing off twist, seeing things before it happens, making calls, alerting each other as to what they think's coming. And when you start to see all that, and then be able to, I think there's kind of a progression of first you can kind of start to recognize it yourself and help yourself out. But then once you're comfortable enough to recognize it, start to communicate that, and everyone can get on the same page. And now you got the whole unit moving together instead of just you moving in the right direction. Now you got something pretty good happening. And so that's kind of what I've seen, where the improvements come. Hopefully that continues to happen. Again, like I talked about earlier, not knowing exactly what we're going to see, we've tried to prepare for a lot of different things and give them a lot of different looks, especially with pressures. Like, hey, I don't know what kind of pressures we're going to have. We're going to see. Let's try to dial up a bunch of different pressures against them so that nothing surprises them. Follow your rules, trust your technique, see things before they happen. And most importantly, if all 5 of you are going together, then good things are going to happen. We'll be all right. And so that's kind of been the message. That's kind of what they've done. I think that's what they've done throughout the camp. And because of that, they've put themselves in a position to have a great season.
Okay, let's go to shotgun.
Hey, Graham, is tempo something you want to explore more this season with the offense?
We always talk about playing at a pretty quick level, and then we kind of have a tempo package, and that's something that we'll definitely get in and out of. But I really think it's just kind of a flow of a game. And to be honest with you, when we're at our best, I think it's not necessarily when we're in a tempo package, but just when we're playing at a fast click, just doing our regular stuff. And you can kind of see it in our guys' body language. When they're moving quickly, when we're getting to the ball quickly, when the quarterback has that good bounce in him, receivers are finding the signal quick and we're snapping it and not sitting there over the ball or being slow. I think that's when we play at our best. And so, that's something that we really encourage our guys to do every day. And that I talked about yesterday with them as well, is hey, man, just when we're playing our best is when we're confident, we're not thinking, we're just getting lined up and we're playing and getting lined up fast. And so that's going to be important for us to do this year. And I think, like I said, last year, the UCLA game is a great example. The first drive or two, Kedon's moving at the pace of a snail, it seems like, and then I got him on the headset telling him his body language sucks. Then also he's kind of getting a little bounce to him. The offense starts to get lined up a little faster. We start playing at a little faster rate, and I don't know if we got stopped the rest of the night, And so a lot of it is, like I said, just body language, just body tempo. If we're getting lined up fast, if our guys are moving quickly, one, it eliminates hesitation. It doesn't give them time to think about if they did something wrong the play before. All they can think about is what they're about to do the next play. And that's when we play at our highest level. And so that's what we've emphasized and what we need to do going into Saturday. And like a lot of people have talked about, regardless of what time it is, like it's a 9 a.m. kickoff. Get your body moving, get ready to play. Play at it, if you play with great tempo, great body language, we're probably going to be successful.
And Kedon, how about you? How do you feel about running some more tempo this season?
Yeah, and I think it's like Coach said, creates a lot of positives for you, and especially when you get momentum, you hit a big play and you tempo them right after. That's hard to stop, So I think it's something we worked on a lot last year, and even when we're not going tempo, when we get up and get set and get that ball snap quickly, I think that gives us a good opportunity to be successful.
Okay, let's jump to Adam Grossbart.
Graham, last year, you'd be lucky to have 2 running backs dressed up, it felt like. This year, how does it open things up if you've got 3-4 scholarship backs healthy?
It obviously helps the cause. Like you said, the cool thing about the backs that we have is if we got all 4 of those guys healthy, you got 4 different players, you know what I mean? And everyone that has a little bit different skill set. And I think that because of that, it makes it really hard to prepare for those guys. And it makes us more versatile because, like you said, we have healthy running backs. We're getting fresh legs in there. No one's getting tired. And you got a different skill set coming at you every down. And so it just makes our offense more versatile. And so it's exciting to have all those guys back. It's exciting to see them getting healthy, see them playing at a high level, and going into the game. If that's the case, we feel really good about where we are running the football. And a lot of that has to do with what I talked about earlier, kind of up front, having the experience we have, and those guys playing with the mindset they're playing with right now, but also having those backs being healthy and running hard. Obviously a lot of people talk about our receivers and quarterbacks and the talent we have at those spots. And we do have a lot of talent there. But in this offense, if you can run the football, that's when you win the most games. And if you can look at it anytime, anyone that runs anything like this offense, when the run game's been established, when they've been able to run the ball effectively, they have much better seasons. And so being able to do that's going to be really important for us this season. Again, I feel great about who we have up front to do that. When all 4 of those running backs are healthy, we're bringing a different look at them every time. And I think it's going to help the run game. And when we run the ball at a high level, like I said, it's going to make this offense really hard to stop. And that's what we're going to try to do.
And Kedon, just going back to the quarterback matchup real quick. Last year, was there any disappointment as a competitor that you didn't get to go head-to-head with Jaden, or just, get to see who would win that one-on-one battle?
I didn't really think about it too much because I thought he was playing up until the snap. At that point, I didn't really get time to process what happened. But, yeah, obviously, playing any team, you'd rather see their starting quarterback and see them at their full strength, So, again, I'm excited for the opportunity this year. And, again, like I said, last year when we were talking about, really other stuff, the quarterback's only one guy on the field. There's 10 other guys out there. So I know the media likes to hype up the quarterbacks and make it all about them. But at the end of the day, it's about the teams as a whole and who can perform better and execute better.
And we have time for one quick question, Matthew Andrade.
Kedon, what are your expectations for yourself this season?
Just to give our guys the opportunity to make plays, and it starts with me, but really just run the offense and execute. It's kind of Coach Harrell's philosophy with everything. If we execute and get the guys get the guys the ball in the right spot, we're gonna have success. And specifically something I looked to improve on last year is just committing less turnovers. You look at the games that we lost. the games where I didn't turn the ball over, we ended up winning, and the games that we did lose is because probably I was turning the ball over too much. So cleaning that up and giving our guys a chance to make plays, that's really the most I can do to help us win.